Welcome back to Late Entry, hosted tonight by Remy LeBeau,
What's going on, late entry family?
and as always, hosted by RBF Kyle as well. How we doing, everybody? Lions won a game. We're gonna start us off with the Sunday night game. First off, shout out Chris Collinsworth, 500 career game, 500 games called in his career. That is a lot of talking, and I know he loves doing it. So I'm happy for him, and I'm glad he's found a second career in play calling and color commentating. Um, that being said, Baker and the boys got the wood put to him. Not so much offense to Baker here. He got hurt, and that was an injury he had back in Cleveland too. The off-throwing shoulder injury is not something to be messing around with, and he takes a lot of hits. He is a physical guy. That is a serious injury for the Buccaneers to be losing him and to be dealing with a former high school state championship coach, Teddy Bridgewater, as your quarterback for the rest of the season would not be a good thing. So hopefully he gets better and they can get back on track. But regardless, the Rams freaking rolled them 34-7. And I don't think it would have been a different result. It would have been a different game, but I don't think it would have been a different result if Baker was healthy, personally. But man, losing a guy like that long term could be really bad. We saw his arm in a sling. That's not something you want to see for your QB1. Heading towards the postseason too. That's just a bad look for Bucs fans, and I hope he gets back because Baker is really on his redemption arc. He's looked really good these last few seasons for them, and just to keep up my credibility, if I have any left, I called him as a top 5 quarterback. So I need him to get back. What do you think, Toph?
Yeah, the worst part is the timing of this injury.
Yep.
Because as of right now, they're literally tied with the Panthers. They both got 6 wins apiece, and in the next couple games up for the Buccaneers, you got Cardinals, who since they've been playing Jacoby Brisket, they've been playing really well. They've been pretty much been in every single game. Then you got Saints division game, Falcons, but they've won once already. But then you got almost back-to-back Panthers game. Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers again. And depending on, from here on out, between the Panthers and the Bucks, pretty much every game is must win there. Especially if you're not going to have, your franchise quarterback. I think a lot of it just comes down to, the offensive line has been banged up as well too. But all the running backs, Bucky Irving, who he was in my top 10. I think Bucky Irving is, one heck of a back. He can catch it, he can run it. He takes a lot of pressure off of Baker. And, when he was in the game, the Buccaneers had a nice consistent attack in there. And you can see since he's been gone, the running game has definitely, faltered with the Buccaneers. I know Sean Tucker had a good game last week. Like I said, you definitely got to have everybody, playing when it comes to crunch time there. Am I surprised at the outcome? Even if Baker was, fully healthy, um, especially with not having, big Iron Mike, or whatever, Chris Godwin has left in his leg, coming off a big injury. I think the Rams, that team is determined. Whoever they end up facing, like I said, I know they lost to the Eagles early on, but you could say, outside of that game, the Rams was pretty much, whoever they faced up with, have taken care of business. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I'm going to send an apology to Matt Stafford once again, because I know I criticized, that man. I called him Bad Back Matt. That man is having, it's crazy to say, a career year. Only throwing 2 picks, 27 touchdowns. He's probably on his way to win the MVP with everybody. Jonathan Taylor, he slowed down today. Baker Mayfield's been on decline there. At this point, you might be just walking away with it. But Matt, hey, once again, I'm gonna hold that down. Even though I got bad takes, but Matt Stafford and the Rams, they're looking like a freight train. I don't see anybody that can stop them anytime soon.
Absolutely, man. That is honestly, we weren't planning on talking about it, but that is a good point, right? Like how it's hard not to argue Matt Stafford, Drake May, Jonathan Taylor. Like they are the only 3 to me that have a chance right now. I mean, Josh Allen's had a decent year, but like it's nothing like what he did last year. Lamar Jackson, a lot of injury. Obviously, there's no Pat Mahomes in the conversation. So there's a lot of guys that you would typically think of that are in the MVP conversation, and they're nowhere to be seen here. And you got Drake May, 23-year-old, 35, 37-year-old, however old he is at this point, Matthew Stafford, and then a 28-year-old, 29-year-old running back. This is the craziest MVP race I think we've been alive for. Like, this is the most, I mean, not necessarily the craziest, but like the most random, like amongst
Yeah.
players. And I mean, I can't argue against any of them, you know?
No, like I said, it definitely is hard to argue. But just like college football and the Heisman, at the end of the day, it is hard to beat quarterback numbers. It's a quarterback
Hmm.
driven league. That's what sells. Like I said, as good as Matt Stafford's playing, it is really hard to, say that he's not in it. And, usually they put record in it some kind of way. So with the record and the stats, it's basically, it should be a given at this point. If it ended today, he would have my vote if I had a vote.
No, I agree. I think Stafford would probably have mine too. Yeah, like you said, I mean, Taylor's slowed down, I guess, in these, for in relative terms. Drake May has looked good, but I mean, there's something special about what Stafford's doing right now. I know he's got help at wide receiver that Drake may not have, but man, I mean, he's done a whole lot with a whole little for a long time over there. That people were expecting the Rams to be on their way out after that Super Bowl, and they found their way to be contenders basically every season since. So, yeah, the future's bright for that team. The future's bright for Matthew Stafford, maybe even too. Um, moving on, we got the Shador game, baby. Shador got his first NFL start for the Cleveland Browns today. That sounds so messed up to say because that is not the franchise I wanted to be calling that out for him. Um, but he got the dub, 24-10. I know it was the Raiders, but regardless, he got the win. It looked a little sloppy, but Toph, what did you think of his first NFL start today?
Man, Shador Sanders, as his first start, which is I think ironic, coming against a team that, hold on, let me hold that up for him real quick. I know it's Apple Watch, but I still had to do it. Um, like I said, a lot of people thought he was gonna be, the Raiders quarterback, in the draft. Because as you know, his protege, his mentor, Tom Brady, Philly owns the Raiders. Um, you just kind of thought with his personality, being in Vegas, Tom Brady said, "Oh, this would be a no-brainer." They moved on from, Derek Carr. It's like, who's going to be playing quarterback for the Raiders ever since he's been gone. I feel like, it's been a revolving door. You know, this quarterback, just a bunch of stopgaps in there. And, whatever you think about Shador Sanders, as a person, when he played, in Colorado, like I said, he did his thing. You just would have thought, we've seen Geno, he's not getting any younger. Why not take a chance, get a young person, and just kind of see what you got. Um, for a backup to be selling, one of the top selling jerseys in all of the NFL, and this man's just finally played. What are we at week 12, 13? It's kind of crazy. I don't think you'll ever see a backup quarterback as a top jersey seller. But the biggest takeaway that I have for this game is the fact that, he laid it all out there. He threw the ball downfield, often. Wasn't a lot of dink and dunk like you see from Dylan Gabriel. But for a guy that's, probably had his first actual week of actually getting reps just in practice with the ones. Granted, it's the Raiders. We know, they're not world beaters. They're not the best team. But at the end of the day, you play who you get matched up with. He can't control that part. Only thing that he could do is do his job. Um, Even from, pregame, down to the tunnel, he hyped the old lineman up. Like I said, you could tell that, people always say, he's been born for this, since a kid, he's been the spotlight. We all know his dad is in there. So you gotta know, any kind of moment never be too big for this guy. Um, like I said, I'm a big Shador Sanders fan. I'm glad that he came out there. His first start, he got the win, and just against the Raiders, he just made that much better there. Um, like I said, it'd be hard for me to go back to Dylan Gabriel. Just the fact that the team, it's just like the Jackson Dark effect. He's got the energy, the moxie. That's all about energy. You already know at this point in there, you ain't gonna make the playoffs. Well, in this division, you never know. But I think if I'm a
Probably ain't
Browns
gonna
fan,
happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably not going to happen. But I just want to see improvement. Let's see what we got. Because on to next year, you got to make a choice. Do you want to use your first round draft pick on a new quarterback, or do you want to use that to kind of get yourself more talent? Maybe trade back to kind of recoup for next year. But I just think you a couple of weeks in there, let's just see what we got. Who do we want to cut?
Absolutely.
Who do we want to sign? Because we don't want to roll out there next year and just do a bad job in there. I'm pretty sure the head coach will be gone. Goodbye, Stefanski. I don't know who's gonna be at the helm next year. But you got to be excited. The Browns fan, they showed up for this game in there. High fives, 12 jerseys. Good old dad, he showed up in the game as well too, down the suite. I saw Matt Barnes. He was in the suite next to Deion Sanders as well too.
Hell yeah.
Shout out Matt Barnes. But no, it's exciting to watch him play, man. It's got to remind me of back there in Colorado, back down there in Boulder, man.
Hmm. No, he looks comfortable back there, man, and even for it to be against the Raiders, it's almost like the beginning of his villain arc right now, right? Like all the teams that passed on me for 5 rounds, I'm coming for your asses, and he's gonna take some bumps and bruises along the way, but I believe in this kid, and I think our whole podcast has believed in this kid from the start. Like we all saw what he could do back in college. We all saw something that was like different from a lot of other college quarterbacks.
Yes.
You put a little protection behind him, put a little chip on his shoulder, and I mean, look out, that kid can be electric. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with them. I'm excited for the Browns to maybe become somewhat relevant for the first time in my lifetime. That'd be pretty cool, and for a Sanders to be at the helm of that would be almost the ultimate like fuck you to the NFL too. Uh, so yeah, I'm rooting for the kid for sure. Hopefully it keeps compounding and they carry over this into next week. And like you said, how do you go back to Dylan Gabriel now? The whole fan base, you like the pop that was heard when he came out onto the field after their starting quarterback got a concussion. Like everybody
Yeah.
wanted number 12 on the field. Everybody, the whole nation wanted him on the field to see what would happen, and he did not disappoint. So, keep giving that kid the rock, keep letting him run the offense, and let that team get to trust him. That's what I say.
Unfortunately, the next couple of games for the Browns, it's not looking too good. You
What do we
got the
got?
Niners, 1 o'clock CBS. After that, ironic, you got his good old friend Cam Ward. They're playing the Titans in Cleveland, so it's kind of cool to see those two match up
Is that a
together.
prime time or where are we looking?
1 o'clock
Oh,
Fox.
it's just a one
I
o'clock.
mean,
Okay.
Fox is prime
Uh,
time for me.
I'm still
It's
tuning.
prime
Yeah, I'm
time
still
Sunday.
tuning in. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Then you got Bears, him against Caleb, Josh Allen, Steelers, and the end it with the Bengals. But like I said,
Okay.
all of those
Whoa.
teams he's playing other than Titans, you know, well, Bengals as well too. 500. Like I said, those are tough games to play against in there. So, if they want to give him the full start for the rest of the year, let's see what he does, man. To use a Vegas, term, he's playing with house money out there. So
Hmm.
let's go out there, leave it all on the table.
Hopefully not literally because we don't want any suspensions around here. But
No, no, no. We don't want that. Stay out the sports books. No parlays.
yeah, for the love of God, Shador, just keep your nose out of the sports books and you'll be all right. Um, all right, moving on. We got Cowboys holding the Eagles scoreless after the first quarter. Eagles start the game off 21-0, and in typical Eagles fashion, they don't score another point after that. You see some crazy catches from Devontae Smith, but nothing to show for it. And somehow the Cowboys squeak their way up to 24 and they win the game. To me, this is, I don't know, this is something I kind of saw coming from their offense. Like I saw them up 21, and for not for a moment did I think the game was over. This is just kind of what the Eagles do a little bit. They're hit or miss, just like my team when it comes to defense. Like you'll shut down one team and then the next week you give up 30. Um, I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to it. I'm not smart enough to know that, but to me, I feel like the Eagles just have these weird holes. but at the same time, if you can't exploit those, they will punish you. And honestly, yeah, they're in a weird spot right now with their offense not being that electric, their defense not really doing quite enough. I think when postseason comes, like I'd be scared if I was an Eagles fan personally, and I know I'm going to take a lot of flack from Eagles fans for saying that after they just kicked our asses last week. But I mean, they don't look any better than we do in all reality. I would be just as scared as I am right now as a Lions fan. What do you think?
No, definitely. Like I said, this was a surprise. Because I feel like with the Eagles, like I said, as soon as you win the Super Bowl, pretty much whoever you end up facing for that next year, you're basically getting everybody's best shot. Everybody wants to
Mm-hmm.
knock off the defending champs there. But it's just feel like every week, throughout the week, all you hear about is just Eagles drama. Whether if it's, Kevin Patullo, saying that the team just doesn't look right offensively. Then you got, every reporter each and every single day, just saying, AJ Brown, they're saying that, you're not that guy anymore. Just always has like I'm trying to get, trying to clip farm basically. And I just feel like, there's just so much like turmoil between the team, between, the media, your offensive play caller that, it's not the same Eagles that we're seeing. They don't look comfortable at any point in time. Um, they'll have their flashes here and there, but like I said, if you're to be up 21-0 against a division opponent, and at that point you were rolling, and everybody knows when you have the lead, what are you supposed to do? Control the clock, run the ball. But this team
Mm-hmm.
can't do that. So if you cannot, control the clock, run the game out, you're going to have issues, especially against the Cowboys. You're playing, in Jerry World. And we know the Cowboys, they have, every single offensive weapon that you probably want there. Um, NFL young boy George Pickens, man. I said this guy, he's a complete head case. I cannot defend that. But in terms of his talent wise, it is hard to just, name off, a good 10 receivers that, you wouldn't take over this guy.
Mm.
Then he loves being in Dallas. CD Lamb, that's his new boy. I know they got in trouble from last game for, being out in the club for too late. They missed curfew. But those two, they gel together and they hang out. They're boys. You can see what one person does good, he's right there with them, cheering them on. And then, Dak, we kill this guy, over and over. But
Oh
he did
man.
what he had to do. He was on fire today. Other than that bad pick, in the end zone towards the red zone, that was really his only, really big mistake there. Javante Williams, I'm happy for this guy. He's revitalized his career. When he came as a rookie, he looked like, bad out of hell. He was a really tough runner. And I'm just happy for him to, kind of get back in track. Um, and to show that he still got some game there. But the Eagles, they only had one sack today. So when you mix, the Eagles, what are they always best at? You know, for the line of scrimmage, offense, defense, run the ball, and then you take your shots downfield. Which is crazy that, everything that we always say the Eagles do bad, what they do today. They made an emphasis to throw the ball down the field. Devontae
Mm-hmm.
Smith, AJ Brown looked like AJ Brown. He did not
Mm-hmm.
fall off. He's still one of the best in the league. You wouldn't say that Justin Jefferson right now. He's still, one or two. These guys don't just fall off, Everybody knows it. This is your strength. We got to take it away. But the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles, man, they just need to find a run game. I don't know what it is. I don't think Saquon's awful. You got him, Tank Bixby, AJ Dillon, Will Shipley. You got backs, but I do think that the Eagles' offensive line is getting old, is getting worn down. I remember listening to a couple of games back on how they say the offensive line, like you don't realize how much of a toll doing that took like tush push over and over and over. And Lane Johnson, he's out. You've had Landon Dickerson. Basically from the season start, he's been in and out, in and out. So like I said,
Mm-hmm.
as unstoppable as that play is, I think it's taking a toll on the offensive line. And, eventually, if you don't have that brute strength, you cheating, getting some hellacious false starts that aren't being called in there. Like I said, all the things that you're doing well that you can't do anymore. Now you got to adapt. Let's find some new wrinkles in there. So I think the Eagles really got to be, they got to be nervous, man. Because like I said, if you can't
Absolutely.
just, dominate your will on anybody, now you got to, really get the X and O's. You got to figure out some new wrinkle again to get you over the hump. And if you got to play the Rams again, I don't think you're gonna get that lucky block kick this time to kind of bail you out.
Yeah, you can't bake on Jordan Davis every week. Um, that D line ain't gonna save you every time.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, and they started. I think they started that game down like 20 points too. I mean, we
It
won't
was, it
get
was
into
21
that.
nothing.
Was it
It
21
was,
nothing?
yeah, it was 21 nothing.
That's insane. Yeah, yeah. They've gotten some luck, some Philly luck, as Philly
Yep.
tends to do. Um, and once again, Philly fans are gonna hate that I said that, but uh, I mean, yeah, I would be worried too, man. Like, and I know Philly fans aren't because they're always just gonna be up on their Facebook lives, like wearing a Jalen Hurts jersey or a Saquon jersey, talking about how they're gonna get to the chip. And I saw it all last year, and then they actually did it, and that pissed me off. Like I just stumbled across all these lives of all these like Philly fans when the postseason started, just like pumping their jerseys and all this. And I'm like, man, the Lions will get you guys. And then we didn't even get to face them, but I
We
digress.
got robbed of that.
Yeah, we did. We robbed ourselves of that. I can't blame anybody but us and Ben Johnson for having one foot out the door into Chicago. That being said, another topic I wasn't planning on hitting on tonight. The freaking Bears are 8-3. What the hell is happening? They keep winning games by like 3 or 4 points. The last second field goals. Is this the Ben Johnson effect? What do you think?
I mean, you know me, like I said, when they made that hire, I thought, just in Ben Johnson's, his demeanor, his personality, who that you had, at the helm in Chicago. I was like, okay, now we can really see, how, creative Ben Johnson can get. I think he's done a lot with what he has. Like I said, I wouldn't say that the Bears are, the most talented team in the NFL, but they got a lot of players that do that do mesh really well. Um, a lot of people always say, your team takes the personality of your head coach. Ben Johnson is, maybe a little bit brash. I don't want to say he's full of himself, but he's confident. And you can kind of see, each and every week as the Bears play Caleb Williams, I think he vastly improves. We've seen it with, Matt Eberflus and just like, how bad it looked. People were trying to say, write Caleb Williams off. But like I said, I'm not saying that it's been perfect, but they're winning. And at the end of
Yep.
the day, you play to win the game. You play who you get matched up with in there. And Caleb Williams today, he looked phenomenal. DJ Moore finally got the ball. A lot of people been saying, where's DJ Moore at? How come he's not getting the ball? Um, like I said, I'm just, pretty impressed. I would not have said at the beginning of the season that the Bears would be 8-3 and literally in first place in the NFC North with, the Lions, how good they've been, consistently over the past couple of years. The Packers getting Micah Parsons, special start the year off. They thought this team was the best team, at least in the NFC. I don't want to say the whole NFL, but at least you probably thought for the first couple of weeks is okay, the Packers, they're here to stay there. I got to met to Ben Johnson. I've always been a big Johnson fan. I'm not no Lions fan, but it was really cool to see the Lions do, linemen catching the ball, each and every week, you never knew what in the world's going to happen from the Lions. So, like I said, I just like it from a fan aspect. The Bears, they've been bad for a very long time. I like seeing, bad teams, come to the forefront. They're out there competing, they're playing well. And like I said, I think, this team, who knows? They got, a lot of firepower now. So I'm excited to see what the Bears can do. I know you're not. As a Caleb Williams fantasy owner, this is what I'd like to see. Because he's my QB1 half the time, so I need that man to put up points.
He is
Ben
trending up.
Johnson, man, I think, he's got a real good chance for coach of the year. 'Cause like I said, to take that team from where they're at now, you gotta give the man his props, man. Mr. Ben Johnson, giving you flowers, my guy.
Yep. I mean, and as much as it pains me to do so, same here, man. For him to turn this around, I know we did our coaching rankings. I think we all had him in our like top three of the seven, because we all know what he is. We all know how good he can be. He has lived up to that and honestly exceeded what I thought he would do in his first season. I thought the Bears would be like 500 and barely making it by. And that being said, they do not have an easy schedule coming up. We all don't in the NFC North. Nobody, like, we all got to face each other again. We all got to face some hard teams. I don't remember everybody's schedule, but I know that it ain't a cakewalk for any of us here. So it is still wide open. There's still plenty of room, but man, the Bears are looking the Bears are looking good. I hate
Hey,
to say that. That
the,
kills me, dude. That's
the
more
Lions
painful than
fan is out here giving, people in their division their flowers. So, that's a big
oh,
step for our boy Kyle here.
I'm not quite the homer you guys thought I was, you know?
Now, if we want to see if the Bears are for real, I'm just looking at, this last stretch.
Yeah.
They got to play the Eagles day after Thanksgiving, prime time, 3 o'clock on Amazon Prime. And this
That's
was
why they
in
call it
Philly
Black
as well
Friday.
too. Um, for real. Then you got the Packers right after that.
Ooh.
And Lambeau. You got the Browns, who was Shador. I mean, Miles Garrett has literally been a one-man wrecking ball. I think he will break the NFL sack record this year. I think it'd be really hard for him to, not get that, barring any kind of, I'm not going to finish that statement. I'm going to just stop
Yep,
right
yep,
there.
yep.
Packers again, the Niners, and to end it, be the Lions. So like I said,
Ooh.
um, pretty much every team here from here on out, other than the Browns, is a 500 team. No gimmies. So really going to see, Ben Johnson, is he for real? How does he, adjust? This is going to be a pretty rough stretch here for the Bears.
Yep. I mean that week 18 matchup could be for the division between those two
Yeah.
teams. And the Packers will put everything they can out there to say different too.
Same thing for the Lions. That's
I
also
know.
brutal. So
I know, man.
NFC North is going to get real gritty right here, right down the stretch.
And the Vikings sneaking a win out of us, that's so upsetting. Because now they're kind of they sneak themselves in the mix just by holding a 500 and maybe just a wild card probably, but
I mean, at least you beat the Bears, and then if you beat the Packers on Thanksgiving Day, now it's even. Now it might just come down to if it did come down to the same record, stats and whatnot. So they got to take
yeah,
care of business.
yep, yep. Speaking of, let's get into the Lions win. They got the ugly win today against the Giants at 1:00. No Jackson Dart. I really would have loved to see I mean, I've been rooting for him too. So I'd like to call him my boy too here. Both of
Hey,
our
there we
both of
go.
our boys here. Like he would have been so cool to see him against that
Oh,
defense.
oh,
But
hold on. I actually got something here today. Keep going.
oh, okay. But yeah, we got to see the Jameis Winston show. The Mr. Mail It, Send It, Throw It Up for an interception. Didn't Oh no, he did throw one interception there in the second half. But
He's always
man,
good for one.
the guy looked like a world beater for 3.5 quarters
Oh, actually,
against
I got it over here.
all right, we waiting. Jameis Winston looked like a world beater for 3.5 quarters, man. Made the Lions defense look like they hadn't even. I mean, there was honestly going into today, there was no way I thought in my head that since Jameis is starting, we're not getting like 3 interceptions. I forgot Kirby Joseph ain't playing and all that. Terrion Arnold ain't playing. Not that he's a ball hawk, but like we're missing a lot of those key pieces, right? And it showed wide open pass in the beginning for a touchdown. I mean, it looked like the Pistons, the Lions were just going to give that shit away. And finally, Jameer Gibbs popped off for a 69-yard run, and we got the dub. So, I mean, I'm happy. I'm not thrilled, but I'm happy we got a dub. It was just what we needed. It was a gritty win. The biggest thing to me is that the Lions came back from a deficit in the fourth quarter. That hasn't happened all year. So to actually just put that on the script, come back from a 10-point deficit, like that's huge for the program. So what'd you think of today?
Well, I just bought some new Jackson Dart scheme Scatterbo T-shirt. I have no idea where it's at right now.
Damn,
So,
I knew it
oh,
had something to do
oh,
with them too.
false alarm on that one. Um,
We'll get it
but yeah,
next
actually,
week.
I didn't get to catch too much of this because I was just busy at work. Um, but first I gotta say, Jameer Gibbs, man, he might be the scariest person in all of the NFL. Cause I swear, every time he touches the ball, you know, you never know. He might just break it for 69, 70, 80. That is the last person that I want to see, ball in his hand, full head of steam. Because, this guy, I think he's definitely the most electric player, you know, probably in all of football. I'm not saying that he's the best running back. He also ain't the worst. He's one or three, somewhere in that range
Mm-hmm.
there. But, that guy, back when he was in Alabama that last year, he was literally the leading receiver for that team as a running back. This man has a real deal skill set. When it comes to home run hitter, you know, I can't name other than, Jonathan Taylor and my guy in Atlanta. There's not too many that could just take the distance, at any given point in time. And you've seen Jameer Gibbs go absolutely nuclear. That man's playing Black Ops 7, 25, because he dropped the nuke today on the poor Giants. Man, oh man.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
one hell of a player there. Jameis Winston, man, you know, it's hard to, not love Jameis Winston, man. Hell of a teammate. I love hearing that man's speeches. And he's no Jackson Dart. Like I said, he gives you that same kind of energy, that juice. His teammates, always like him. Anybody that may ever made a mistake as a young guy, he's probably going to be the first person, right there by his side to kind of pick you up there. So I just always like seeing Jameis Winston, throw the ball. He's going to be good for one interception, maybe a fumble as well too. But Jameis Winston, man, to get on in there, I did not see, this game going down to the wire. In OT, I definitely had the Lions covering the spread a healthy amount. So shame on me for that. Every time I bet the Lions, man, it never goes well. I ain't learned my lesson there. But Wandale, one of my favorite Giants receivers. Like I said, this guy had 14 targets. He's a talented player. He's definitely, no Malik Neighbors, but for a slot guy, he does his job in there, man. A big Wandale Robinson fan. But the running game was basically absolute for the Giants, man. And this is kind of what I was saying last week. We were talking about who the Giants miss more, Malik Neighbors or Cam Scatterbo. This is why I said Scatterbo there.
Mm-hmm.
To have 39 carries for 122 yards, basically 3.1 in average, and for you to still basically go to OT down by 7, that says a lot. You guys had 400 yards, passing. That wasn't the problem. It's just, when you're in that moment and you got to seal the game, Cam Scatterbo in the fourth quarter, after everything that went on, you can't tell me that's going to wear down the defense. He might, I'm not saying he's going to break from 69, but he'll get that first down, maybe the one that you needed to extend the drive in there. That's what he does. So as the Giants, and with his energy and just his toughness, that's what I think this team is missing at this point in time. No disrespect,
I
Malik. That is one of my favorite receivers in the league. But Scatterbo is a guy that seals the deal. He did it, when they first played the Eagles. He knocked them out. Um, I got a real player there, man. So if you would have had that kind of player, I think this could have went the other way there. I tip my hat to the Lions. I still think this team is talented. Like I said, they're not out there just dominating like they did last year. But you could see, you know, when Gibbs is Gibbs, you got a good, healthy balance in there. Jared Goff, he's not getting knocked off his spot. They could beat anybody. Like I said, it's not the same offensive line. You can't just, dominate your will as they could. The Lions still have the pieces. They still got talent. Excuse me. Big Aiden, they came with the play to seal the game. That's what you get yourself an Aiden Hutchinson for.
mm-hmm.
Sitting at the
Mm-hmm.
Lions, they did what they got to do. It wasn't pretty, but what do I always say? You play to win the game. A win's a win. It ain't gonna say ugly win in the stat column. It just says
Am-
W. So there you
Amen.
go.
Amen. And I mean, honestly, you brought me back to a couple things. First off, the Jameis Winston hitting the goalpost and then being like, "Who's going to Bible study? Who's going to Bible study?" And everybody started like that is a leader if I've ever seen one. Like
Yeah.
he single handedly probably put the most butts in seats for Bible study that day by hitting that goalpost because he said, "If I hit this, we all go into Bible study." Um, But yeah, I mean, he's a damn leader amongst men, and honestly, he's a great role model for Jackson because Jackson's got the intangibles that Jameis maybe doesn't, but they both have those same leadership qualities. That being said, I mean, Jameis with those jump balls today was ridiculous. Moving on from that, big thing that I was thinking about during the game, but kind of forgot about until we just started breaking this shit down. The fact that the Giants went for it on that fourth down in the fourth quarter, and I know you said you missed most of the game, but the Giants went for it on like a 4th and 8 scenario when they were up by 3, 27-24 in field goal range, and they tried to go for a dart to the touchdown to seal the game, or a dart to the end zone to seal the game. Not to Jackson Dart, but it was he threw a dart. But they did not complete it, and then next thing you know, the Lions get down. Jake Bates kicks a 59-yard field goal to tie it up. If that doesn't happen and they just kick the field goal, the game's over, right?
Yeah.
But that's why we know the NFL is scripted, and the Lions got to get their chance, and we got the dub tonight. So that was just such a crazy runaround of events. Like, if they didn't go for it, we might not even have been having this conversation. I'd probably be just having my hood up, head down, crying again because the Lions lost.
Let me strong arm another little topic in here, about the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
For all that, let's say that, you're a Giants fan, just picture yourself, as a Giants fan right now. Would you
Okay.
call this season a failure for the Giants if you're a Giants fan?
So, funny enough, because of how much we've been talking about them, I feel like I've become like a tangential Giants fan because like I love Jackson Dart. I love these young guys. I love Neighbors. So to me, no, I don't. Even firing Dable, like I thought he was going to last through the season, maybe even through next season because of this like rebuilding period. But no, to me, I see a bunch of guys playing their asses off, playing hard, a good defense, structure. Like there's no reason to be panicking as a Giants fan long term. I think this is the beginning of the rebuild, and it's like actually building in a good direction, you know?
Yeah. So this is I'm glad that you said that because the more I watch this team, it reminds me of your Lions.
Mm,
When they stuck, because they would always, even when they were bad, they
hmm
would still lose. But how many times were they like in a one possession game? They fought tooth and nail and eventually came back. They've always,
Yep,
added on more talent. I think the Giants have a lot more talent than most 2-10 teams you'll ever see. They were right in there, neck and neck with the Broncos. They should have won that game. Um, like I said, yes, you're not having
so
the
true.
same success that you had, but I remember saying in the beginning of the season, what did I say? I said, I think Jackson Dart should start from the jump just so you could see what this team has, or what they're capable of. You know, even if you would have had Jameis Winston from the get go, I think it might have been vastly different. We might not have seen Jackson Dart, so soon in there. But I think
True.
the Giants have a lot of talent. I think they just got to figure exactly who you keep, who you move on from. Because you got to know with the way these contracts are, Scatterbo, he's going to get, a good healthy size contract for a running back in today's market. Jackson Dart's going to get paid probably north of 325, maybe $350 million. Malik Neighbors is also going to get paid. And we just seen with the Bengals, 3 players take up like 60%, of your salary. So when it comes to the Giants, that money's going to go by really quick. So your window is very short in there because
Hmm
you're not going to wait to the very last, year of Jackson Dart's contract if he's your guy. You're probably going to do it 2 years early, so that way the market isn't as bad when it comes to that time in there. So like I said, I love the Giants. I like what they're doing. I think, they got some pieces, but like I said, it's going to happen pretty quickly because with that market, you start paying all these young players, it's going to hurt those pockets very quickly there.
Yeah, and honestly, in that market, in that New York market, I think I mean, given this current situation of how the team's going, I think Neighbors might be the casualty here. You got too many guys you're paying on
Oh,
defense. I'm just being real. I'm not saying it
I
like
know.
he doesn't
Hey,
deserve the money,
no, I know what
but
you're saying.
Yeah, but he might be the casualty because of. I mean, it was the same thing of our question of the week last. Like, you need Scadaboo and Dart to be the duo. We saw today that the quarterback of the future could make it work without Neighbors. I mean, Jameis Winston ain't the quarterback of the future, and he almost beat a Super Bowl contender. As bad as they might be looking right now, they are still one of those. But man, yeah, it's so tough. I mean, the NFL is so tough, man, because like you said, the window is so short, and I want to see this core get it done, but at the same time, I never want to see them ever get the hell out of the divisional round because I'm in the NFC too, man. And I mean,
Yeah,
oh
I
man,
mean,
but Jackson Dart is
it,
so hard not to root for, and that team is so hard not to root for.
teams don't stay together forever.
Yep,
Every good band's got to come to it, an end eventually.
true.
So like I said, there's not infinite money. This isn't baseball. We're gonna say, you could have 150 mil. You get 150 mil. NFL is not as, it's given like that. Like you got to make some real tough choices. Carry the one. Move some money over here and over there. Like I said, it's gonna get really quick for the Giants. Like I said, you got to figure out, who you want because 1 or 2 bad contracts could basically mean you got to do a full rebuild all over again.
Hey, Jared Goff, take a reduction on your contract. Build that O line up. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Lions would love to have that O line back right now.
Yeah, we would. I'd love Zietler back. Holy shit. We won't get into that tonight, but
It's almost like that for Wednesday.
yeah, there you go. All right. Next up, I got some blind rankings for you, my guy.
Ooh, all right, let's go. I'm ready.
All right, we're gonna start off with quarterbacks here. I got
Okay.
you with
How many is there?
I'm gonna do 5. It's 1 to 5 on all
Okay.
of them. We're gonna do quarterbacks, wide receiver, running backs. So
What's like the time frame? Are we modern or
it's
is this like a mixture?
all we're gonna do all this season. This is hopefully
Okay.
gonna be an extended
Perfect.
bit as long as Double Dose approves.
Okay.
This is something I could totally keep coming up with, and I think you and I could both even come up with some fun stuff for some oldies, some goodies, whatever.
Yeah, I like it. I'm
Um,
ready.
all right, so at quarterback here, we're starting off 1 to 5. Your first name is Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield right now.
1 to 5,
One to
2025.
five. I'm debating somewhere between 3 and 4. Let me get Baker at. I'm gonna put him at 3, right there in the middle.
Okay, I love that. I love that. All right, next up, Patrick Mahomes.
Put him at 4.
I also love that. I should stop saying that. I should I should just let you answer. Number 3, we got Bryce Young.
5.
Okay. I'm just gonna say it because I've said it for the other 2. I love that.
Feeling good so far.
4th one, we got Matthew Stafford.
1.
All right. Hey, all due respect. Oh, you're gonna hate this. You're left with number 2, Michael Penix.
Hey, late entry family, I failed y'all. Dang, man. I try to play it safe, man. I thought Bryce Young might have been like the worst of the bunch. I tried
Right.
to play it, I was like, okay, Baker,
Yep. And you
he's
put, I
been
mean, and
good, but like I
Baker's
said,
been
you never know who's gonna pop up here.
right.
Dang.
No, you played that so well. I honestly, I threw him in there just to piss you off. I really
Hey,
did. Because I knew with Bryce, you'd be like, oh, I could play. I knew, I
hey,
literally predicted how
I didn't
that
think
was
he was gonna cut that deep, yo. He got me. He got me. We were
I
doing
got you
good,
there.
chat.
I got you there. No, but hey, you honestly, you cooked with everything you had in front of you. You freaking cooked. Baker 3, Pat
I
4.
should have expected one more bad person, so it's the Patrick one.
Right. I mean, you could have, yeah, you
That's
could
where I
have bumped
messed up.
Baker to 2 and then Pat
Yeah.
3, or you go Pat 2, Baker
Yeah,
3.
because
Right.
Penix would have been 5, then Bryce 4. So we're
Yep.
just a little bit off. We should
Right.
have counted for one more bad person. That was fun. I like that.
All right.
Okay.
Good shit. No, you kicked ass, honestly. All right. Next up, we got wide receiver here.
Yep.
And I did not make it, I didn't necessarily make it easier on you.
That's
That'll be
fine. I
my
don't
hint
want it
for you.
easy.
All right. Bet. Number 1, we got Jalen Waddle.
5.
You hate me so much.
Maybe I should have did 4 there, but you said you were gonna make it easy, so
You
we
said, I'm
might get
sorry, what'd you
close
say?
again.
3? You did 3?
Uh, I had him at 5. I'm
Oh,
gonna
you
keep
had
it
him at
at
5.
5.
You had him at 5. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're
All
good.
right.
I thought you were trying to save me. I said, don't save
Nope.
me.
All right. Nope. You good. Uh, Jameson Williams.
He's got to be at 4.
Kayshawn Booty.
Oh boy, yeah. 3.
Nico
Oh,
Collins.
I might put him at 1 at this point.
That's a good choice. Stephon Diggs.
Dang, 2. I'd have put Stephon at 1 if these
If you
names
knew
I
he,
would
yeah.
have got. Yes.
That was so bad. That one was so bad, dude.
I mean, to be fair, if I would have switched the first one,
Yeah,
I'd
well,
have
I
put him
mean,
at
I,
3.
I
I would
was,
have been good.
I know,
I was not expecting Mr. Booty and the rest of the gang to show up. Oh man,
I put 2 New England receivers in there. I'm a piece of shit. I suck.
man, I didn't think we were gonna. There was some deep cuts there. I didn't think we were about to get 5 deep cuts there.
I knew you'd be proud of me for that too. That was
No,
another. I was
hey,
like,
I liked
I
it.
was trying to make
He,
my
he
man
made me
proud over
think.
here.
He made me. I had
Exactly.
to try to overcompensate for the quarterbacks.
I'm trying to get you back for that GM thing, which I absolutely loved, by the way. If anybody hasn't seen that video yet, go tune in to me and Spencer trying to be GMs. And Toph put us to work, man. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last but not least, we got the RB blind rankings. This one's
Okay.
a lot more fun. It's still going to be hard, but it's a lot more fun. Number 1, Bijan Robinson.
Oh boy, he gave me my guy for the
I
first
know.
one.
I know.
3,
I love it. Jameer Gibbs.
1.
See, now I put you on the spot. Now you got to rank them against each other.
Hey, I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be fair. He's had a better season than Bijan.
Yep, this is all on this season. That's a reminder, too. Yep. So we going to? Next up, Saquon Barkley.
5. 1, 3, 5 are gone. Okay.
Next up, Derrick Henry.
To be fair, he does have better numbers than Saquon Barkley,
A
so
little
that's actually
bit.
not bad. I'm gonna give 4. So choose the only one left.
And you did it just right, Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, see, I had a feeling all 3 were gonna show up in there.
Nah, well
Yeah.
done on
No,
that.
yeah, I actually liked it a lot. I think that was perfect for
Well
this
done
year
on
because I
that.
really just looked up Henry's numbers. Somehow he has 800 yards. It does not seem like it, but he does.
That's
He's
crazy.
he's
Yeah.
ahead of Saquon. Saquon's at 677. After that, I think he had what 22 yards, so he's basically still at the
Yeah,
same
he's
spot. So
not
yeah,
even close.
in theory, that in terms of stat wise, that's 100% correct. So I redeemed
In theory,
myself.
that is the 5 too. Like Saquon's 5, and then move your way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
I
shit
just,
on that
if you
one.
was going to pull a Rashad White, I was going to be cooked. I was hoping. I said, now if he
No,
put these heavy hitters out there, I said, ain't no way he's putting a deep cut in there.
no. Once, like, I was like, I'm gonna pull some fast one, and then I was like, once we got to RB, I was like, let's let him actually try to rank who I think maybe are the
See,
top
Chad, I
5.
thought my team's best player, one of my favorite players, I didn't have him at 1. I ain't got no biasness when it
Nope.
comes to
Hey,
me. I
you
spit
are
the
the
real,
most
the
objective
actual
fan in this
factuals.
entire podcast.
I even said
Spencer,
Ohio State's going to lose next week, or I guess
I'm gonna
this
say,
week. Now,
hey, oh, whoa,
I just said it. I
all
don't
right,
like it, but history shows
you're
we ain't
right.
won that game in a while, so I
Michigan's
can't be
trending too.
confident.
Michigan's trending, man.
Really
We
quick,
are.
strong arm another topic in here.
Let's do it.
How different do you think that game would be if it wasn't always the last game of the season?
Way, like,
Because, like, let's say that they would have to play them like week 3, like when
oh,
Michigan is still trying to
Michigan.
figure things out.
Yeah, it would be 51-21. I
So
mean,
low
it
key,
would.
that usually plays, in your guys' favor because you got the whole season, the ups and
Mhm.
downs.
So do
You
you.
said, okay, I mean,
You guys would have been ready
yes,
for us though, 100%.
I mean, yeah, 100%.
I completely hear what you're saying. Keep going.
Yes, Texas wasn't, the Texas of last year, but we would have known that, in the preseason rankings, they wanted to put Texas at 1.
Yep.
They did not want to put Ohio State. They did not want them at number 1. And even so, Texas still only lost by 7 points. But with just, a new quarterback, Bryce Young, if he would have to play against that defense in his first couple of games, oh no, it would have been bad. But I think now, he's, hasn't still looked perfect, but, he plays the game well. He's dynamic. He got to, run for the pass. I'm excited to watch the game. Like I said, I think it's in the big house, right?
It is. It is.
Oh yeah, is it gonna be snowing? If it's snowing, then yeah,
No, it shouldn't be. It
100%.
shouldn't be.
Okay.
It'll be cold, but it shouldn't be snowing.
Yes, unfortunately, I do think Michigan somehow, some way is gonna win. Um,
I do too.
Ohio State, they did not have Cardinal Tate or Jeremiah Smith last week because they wanted to be healthy for this game. But I mean, it's been what 4 years in a row
Yeah,
you guys have won.
2197 days or something like that.
It's like I said, it after last year, I'm like, you know what? No, I ain't got no more faith
Yeah,
until
right.
they
In
actually
that
win.
game,
Yes, I'm like, okay, we were, at the pinnacle. So no, I don't have any confidence no more. Not until we
bro.
win. And maybe then I
After
can start to kind of, build that confidence back up.
after we gave away the 2006 game, I basically wrote off the Ohio State game for like 10 years. And then Jim Harbaugh came in there with his angel wings in the background and finally gave us a chance.
I mean,
Along with
even some
JJ
of
McCarthy. But
the JT Barrett one, that one
oh
was really,
my
really controversial,
god.
even when you
Oh
weren't
my
that good.
god. Yep.
Sometimes that game, throw record out. I mean, it's the
Absolutely.
game, the
That's
rivalry. So
and
sometimes,
I think
it
that's
doesn't
good for
matter.
football. That the fact that these two teams prime themselves for each other all year. Pause. The fact that
Yeah,
these two teams get ready to face each other all year.
and have one per pod. There it goes.
Had to have one. Got to get our quota. Shout out Double Dose.
Or
Uh,
even if it was like a night game, like not even almost like the 1 o'clock slot. Like I wish they would change that. I get
I
it.
would
It's
like it as a night
tradition.
game. I would love it as a night game. It
Yeah,
should be
like if you want to
the
make it the last
last
game,
game.
because I'm fine with it. But let's spice it up a little bit. Definitely don't make it neutral site. Definitely not that.
No,
That would be
no,
disaster for you guys.
no.
Yeah, night game. That'd be really interesting. We don't almost need the 1 o'clock slot. Let's change it up now, fellas. Come
Well,
on now.
I think on the same network usually it ends up Alabama Auburn as the night game. So it's just kind of
The
this
good old
like
Iron
worked
Bowl.
out, yeah,
Yeah,
it's that worked out thing where they get the nighttime, we get the daytime. Just
just
like Thanksgiving, we get
alternate
the
it then.
daytime and Cowboys get the nighttime.
Yeah, just well, I know that's tough to do. I think we should switch it up every year, year by year.
I agree
You
completely.
get night, you get day. You get night, you
Bro,
get day.
could you imagine a really good Lions team playing Thanksgiving night? Like how
Yeah,
hyped that
after
crowd
we're all
is?
full,
Yeah,
uh,
dude.
uh,
Oh,
well, there might not be too many odds in the game. We might be, taking that nap. We might
a
not
little bit.
survive to watch the
Yeah.
game, but
It'd be
yeah,
mostly
like I said,
Detroit watching.
I know people love the tradition, but come on, man, we can spice it up every once in a while.
Yeah, I'd love to do
Throw a little
that.
bit of seasoning on there.
Yeah, let's throw a little seasoning on that tradition. That's the mantra of the episode. Let's throw a little seasoning on that tradition.
Throw a little potato salad on there.
There you go. I'm putting that shit in the thumbnail.
Oh, we cooked with that one there.
Hell yeah, we did. All right, y'all. Thank y'all
All
for
right, look,
tuning
back on
in.
track now.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's it. I got us with the blind rankings. We hit y'all with the NFL news. I think we cooked up a good episode here, Toph. What you think?
Yeah, that was a good two-man weave right there. That
Hell
was the
yeah.
Remy LeBeau on RBF Kyle show. Once again, every once in a while, we spice it up down
Hell
here at
yeah.
late entry. But as always, I'm gonna do my own outro right here.
Hell yeah.
Tell your friends, tell your daddy, your mama, your auntie, your teacher, your homeboy at work, your crush at work as well too. All that, man. Rep the comments. Hit us up. On TikTok, all that good stuff. Get up in the comments. Some nice, healthy debates. Let's not get too personal. We can have a little back and forth banter there. Run it up, guys.
Hell
And on
yeah.
that
Let's
note, late entry, we out.
peace, y'all.